Remember, it's 56.
That's what I thought it was. But I saw a tweet that said anyone who knows what podcast number they're on is a cop. So now I'm like, I'm not a cop.
Was that your dog?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was the dog and the cat fighting.
Alex,
Fighting.
we've all just
They don't ever hurt each other.
Oh, I should actually. So Ami, this is everybody. This is Alex, and the top.
Yes,
I don't know
hi
where.
everyone.
Allison.
Hi.
Sam is the British
Hi.
guy, and Pat.
Pat
He's
is
our
your
best boy.
Pat is your doppelganger.
Can you so where, just really quick, I know everyone listening, watching probably already knows all this, but I don't know any of you except Andre. Where, and I know that everyone's in different places right now. I'm just curious where.
I'm in the kitchen.
country-wise.
Oh my god.
Sam's in Europe.
Kitchen, UK.
Only for a little
Only
bit,
for
though.
a bit,
It's
yeah.
only for a few more months.
For the next 1 month and 20 days.
Sam will always be in Europe in my heart.
Thank you.
Me too.
In the continent of Europe, yes. The political organization of Europe.
I think you have to give that up too. If you're going to leave the EU, you got to give up being on the continent.
You're not in
I
Europe.
think that's how it
You're in
Do
Eurasia.
we have to be our own continent? Because that's not going to work.
You're in Eurasia, not Europe.
God.
Oh
Are
man.
we in Demolition Man already?
You're in the strange reel now.
Pat and I are both West Coast. You're Seattle, right, Pat?
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm Vancouver Island in Canada.
Oh, cool.
And I'm Minnesota, so right in the middle.
Wow, that is very international, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Bravo.
Whereabouts in the world are you, Ami?
I'm in New York, so I guess that covers the other coast.
Yeah,
Yep.
Too bad we don't
We
have
have-
Erica here. Then you
Yeah, we have a New York member, but she's doing grad school stuff, and she's like, "Oh God, why am I doing this?"
She's on
So
temporary
she's on
hiatus.
hiatus.
Alex, I didn't know you were on Vancouver Island. There's a guy I follow on YouTube who also lives in Vancouver Island.
Yeah,
And it doesn't look like that big a place.
it's pretty big. Like,
It's a relatively large island.
yeah, like I can think of 4 major cities that have over 1 million people.
What?
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Really?
well, not over 1 million, maybe closer to like 500,000.
It's like bigger than the populated area of Washington.
I thought Vancouver Island was like Barry Island, which is a small island in Wales.
Oh God, no.
No.
It's,
Yeah, I knew it was big, but I just thought it was like there's a lot of nothing here. I was like, it's an island.
yeah,
Like,
I mean,
It's like the
there's
size of
mountains.
Michigan's Upper Peninsula for sure.
It's Canada's second most populous island after the island of Montreal is what Wikipedia called it.
Montreal's an island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Ile de Montréal.
It's a river island though, so it's like
Yeah, it's
Shit about Canada.
I'm just gonna not say anything so that I don't sound like I don't know anything about geography.
By the way,
I don't know anything.
we've been live for like 4 minutes. So
No, that's good. That's fine.
of course.
Okay. Well, are we ready?
yes.
heck yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hello and welcome to Gaming Fix, episode 56, as told by Alex. I'm not a cop. I don't know what number we're on this February 9th, 2019, or February 10th, depending on which time zone you're in. If you're like me and in the future, and me, that is Andre, your girl's favorite Organization 13 member. I am joined by Alex Galinas.
Hey, having a surprise launch straight into your heart.
Ooh. Sam Harrison.
If I was knighted, then my nobody name would be Xmas. So
Oh,
pretty seasonal.
just leave it there. Leave it there. Allison.
Oh, I was gonna look at I'm looking at my Organization 13 name, and it is Xinisolol. So that's
Sounds more like a
rolling.
real Organization 13 name if it makes you feel any better.
Solar Nex.
And that's Pat
I
complaining.
am a high tier loot.
Oh, ooh.
Oh.
And joined by special guest today from Penny Voxel, the new YouTube channel, Amitabh Sarfati.
Yeah, I was hoping you were going to say Amitabha because that makes my Organization 13 member name way more complicated.
What is your Ami? Or
Oh,
I mean, I don't
Unreal.
know. Can we go with Mixa?
Mixa,
I don't know.
We are
Xiaomi?
streaming on Mixer.
Sounds like a
Xiaomi?
phone.
Yeah, it's like a Xiaomi, like a Chinese
Yeah.
electronics
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
manufacturer. And you know,
Yeah, otherwise,
that's
let's see.
all anyone could want from an
Xiaomi-
Organization
Xiaomi
13 name.
Top X.
Top. Yeah, that's some of those names. They sound better as like Aurelius. Like that's like a terrible name. But I don't know. Do we want to get into Kingdom Hearts now? I finished it.
I don't know if we ever need to get in. You did a spoiler cast, right? Like,
I did a spoiler cast, but I have not heard Ami's thoughts on this game.
yeah, I know.
Just give us a
Well-
thumbs up or thumbs down.
I don't know how far you are. I don't know anything.
Yeah, me neither. Really, I'm not that far. I'm doing a
Okay.
very slow, very dramatic let's play of it on the
All
channel.
right,
So,
dramatic in what way? Let's lay this down for
Oh
me.
god, yeah, we're just doing this, aren't we?
Yeah, no, we're doing
Okay,
it.
all right.
I'll make it brief. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much because I am so not far. Dramatic, just in a very dramatic commentary in the voice, a low dramatic theatrical sort of. Yeah, that's.
Are you like audio off and you're voicing every character?
No, I considered doing that. I don't
Redub
think
the entire playthrough like a Dragon
if it were an
Ball Z
older
Abridged.
Kingdom Hearts game, because at least so far there are none of those cutscenes in this game. There's like in-engine cutscenes where the characters don't actually speak. It's just bubbles.
Yeah.
There's none of that. I was hoping there would be so that I could do that. But,
So how far are you?
it's embarrassing to even say. I'm still in Toyland.
Okay. That's I had some issues with that level, but yeah, I finished it, and I don't know. I don't know. I think there's some very poor design choices in that game. Like, I think the gummy ship stuff is abysmal. I think a lot of the like the mech stuff in the toy box level, I think is similarly bad. There's like a ton of mini games in that game, and they're not very well developed. They're like all half baked. Like there's a bad Bust a Move clone at one point. There's like 3 of them.
And just the cooking with.
Oh, you dropped out. Oh no. The cooking mini game that he was talking about. Yeah.
There's a cooking mini game.
Yes, with your boy Ratatouille.
Cooking.
Oh,
His
okay.
name isn't Ratatouille, it's Remy. Jesus.
Ratatouille.
His name
Let's
is
go
Ratatouille.
His last
I've been
name's
corrected on that.
Ratatouille. His first name's Remy. His last name's Ratatouille. This makes perfect sense.
But
No.
The film is called Rat.
Is
but
that
if
that
I-
game? Is that
the famous-
minigame basically Cooking Mama?
I've never played Cooking Mama.
Not even. I mean, to make a soup, you cut onions. Like you collect ingredients, but the actual preparation is of one item.
Oh.
It's like to crack an egg, you have to move the sticks in opposite directions and then hit like the triggers at the right time.
What?
And like some like stuff floats around your head and you hit the triggers, then you like crack the egg, and if you screw up, then you just drop the whole egg in the thing. And the
And once you've cracked the egg,
entire
you make it.
premise is Ratatouille is standing on Sora's head. Like I guess it's the movie. I've never seen the movie, but Ratatouille is controlling Sora.
Which
You should
is
watch
already
this
the
movie.
least
You
realistic.
should see Ratatouille. It's a really good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, fundamentally. That
That's
part
part of
is
Disneyland Paris.
And there are like I don't know, there are story beats that they like tease and pick up, and then they just drop, and they never address again. The ending, I think, is kind of bad, but I still like enjoyed my time with it. I don't know. Yeah, it
Sounds like a solid 7.
This feels like a PS3 game.
Yeah.
And it really, I mean, it is for all intents and purposes. What it sounds like is a solid Square Enix game that they've been planning for way too long and waited too long to put
Like,
out.
I mean,
And
it even has like modern design sensibilities that Final Fantasy.
I mean, I don't
15
know
doesn't
whether I
have.
would.
Or that Final Fantasy 15 has. It doesn't have things
Right.
that Final Fantasy 15 has. So
Well-
yeah, I don't know.
Andre, If someone wanted to hear your nuanced and spoiler-filled opinions on this, where would they find that?
Probably in the Gaming Fix podcast feed, where Chris Edgerton, friend of the podcast, and I spent 2 hours and 45 minutes or thereabouts breaking down what the fuck happened in Kingdom Hearts 3. We skip all the Disney stuff because it doesn't matter.
That's like the most hilarious part of this, is that fundamentally this is a game that is supposedly Final Fantasy and Disney, and you're just like, fuck that.
Final Fantasy.
No,
Final Fantasy's
but
so
like,
gone.
right. But we're at the point where it's like you're taking all of that out, and you're just like, let's just focus on the completely confusing lore of it all, which I think is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways, it's all Final Fantasy now, right? Like, it's not actually Final Fantasy because they're not really Final Fantasy characters, but like the story is Final Fantasy story.
It's Naruto. Like Austin Walker said this on the Lore Reasons podcast, and it's just like it is the most shonen anime. Like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are just Naruto, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 is Naruto Shippuden. Is basically just how that goes.
Are we going to get a Boruto Kingdom Hearts?
Absolutely.
My belief is there will be a Switch game that is like a Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance type story thing. Is how I think this is going to go. There's going to be more Kingdom Hearts.
I'm looking at Kingdom Hearts Union Key square brackets cross.
Yeah. Is that the mobile game? Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I should play it, obviously.
Like,
Dan's going to play it.
I look forward to Game of the Year when I can just go like, okay, here's what fucking happened. I need to talk to somebody about this.
Here's the thing, though. You can only talk about this at Game of the Year if it's actually one of the best games of the year.
I will certainly have
7 out of 10.
There are certainly moments that are moment of the year caliber, in my opinion. But yeah,
that's fair.
They
what are your
Goofy or Donald Duck?
one of them maybe.
Okay.
Donald saying, I think there's some ingredient. I can't do Donald Duck voice, but I think there's some ingredients around here.
That was, I don't know. I'd argue that was a pretty fantastic Donald Duck voice. But I'd like
half
to hear
the time
more
I do
of.
Donald Duck, it just turns into Yoda. Ingredients around here there are.
They're not very close in voice at all.
No, if I try to do so. Ami, what are your thoughts on the game?
To be honest, I think I'm perhaps enjoying it more than the majority of people I've talked to.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing that came up, and again, I'm only in toy box, not
which
toilet.
is the second world, right? Second box
or third. I think you can go to.
Okay. Yeah, you maybe you can.
Right. First of all, it's very easy. I think, and I've been talking to some other people on the Kingdom Hearts subreddit about the fact that, you know, after a couple hours, you're just like, why didn't I play on Proud? And you can't switch. I suppose you can turn on that no experience gain ability, but no. Anyway,
for people who do weird runs.
Yeah, weird runs. One thing that came up though, and I showed my friend this today, I felt, and this has nothing to do with the game, really, but I was in Andy's bedroom, which sounds wrong, but it like felt wrong too. Like it didn't feel quite right to
His bed is facing the wrong direction. It's facing it. You know, it is.
Oh, is it?
I watched
horizontal.
It's basically it should be going towards the window, but it's going towards the door. It's in the right corner, but it's turned 90 degrees.
But when you're a kid, you do dumb shit like that where you move it around in a bad way.
That almost helps.
It's not how Andy's room looks. It's not right.
But that almost helps me because the fact that it felt so much like this place that I felt I had, you know, observed so much as a kid, but there was always, you know, a screen between me and the characters who are interacting in that place. And all of a sudden, because in the other Disney universes, you're not like, you know, there are more representations of what you see in those movies, especially in previous Kingdom Hearts games where a lot of the Disney movies were not CGI animated movies, or they were, but they weren't 3D. Yeah, and so they were just sort of these 3D representations of those worlds. And this is like a recreation of this movie scene, and all of a sudden you can move around in it, and it's like exciting in a way, but it felt very odd, and I couldn't quite place why.
Yeah, it's and like I don't know, the scale is like it's like I don't know, it seems a little small for what it should be, but also nothing happens in that room really. So I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's not like you can leave the room and then explore the rest of the house. Going on into the main lawn is a bit strange too, but then you try and walk down the street and you just get teleported to another section.
There's some very strange decisions. They just want you to fight in the street, I guess.
This is kind of we don't have to go off on a huge tangent, but did any of you play the Toy Story? I think it was like a PS.
No, like the Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3
No. Well, no, actually, that's not. I actually have not played that one, and I probably should. I mean, there's an earlier Toy Story game that I can't remember if it's based on the first or the second movie.
Toy Story 2 on PS2 was really good.
It might be that one, but there's a really good one that does exactly what you're talking about, where it kind of lets you loose in levels that are like recreations of scenes from the movie. There's one in the toy store. There's one there's like an Andy's Neighborhood level, and those are fantastic for exactly what you're talking about, where like they're really good recreations of the space. I'm sure that they wouldn't hold up as well now, but you kind of can explore the nooks and crannies of those environments in a really cool way, even though like it's not like they're revolutionary. They're just like, 3D platformers, but those were really neat games. And so I get kind of what you're saying, in that it's being able to explore those spaces is really neat. And Toy Story seems like a unique property that it's worth doing that in.
So if, let's say some 8-year-old sees this game and they see Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and all that stuff on the cover, is there any way that they're going to understand what's going on? Like, have they added
like,
any?
Who are these 10 other motherfuckers on this cover?
Yeah, but like, I mean, a kid only cares about those properties probably.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, is there any way that they're bringing kids or anybody up to speed on what's going on, or is it all just a confusing mess?
At the start, they have like a 20-minute explainer, like on the main menu. They have like a 20-minute explainer of what's going on. And like the first 2/3 or so of that game is just like basically explaining a bunch of stuff that Sora doesn't know because he lost his memory after Chain of Memories. But it's So it's
as you do.
Like Naruto Shippuden, 2/3 of it or more is setting up for like the final confrontation at the end.
Sure.
Like it's all just
shonen. Going
to that point. Yeah, it's shonen. So like there are some issues, but like it still exceeded my expectations, which is ridiculous because I have a lot of problems with this game. But
How low were your expectations?
Pretty low. Like I looked at it, I went, "Oh, they just made another PS2 game. It's the exact same fucking game." Like from the gameplay trailers and stuff, and in a lot of ways they did, but it's more PS3 game than a PS2 game. So yeah, it seems kind of like a game where we just need to fucking get it out. It needs to go. It needs to be done. So
they needed to say that 10 years earlier. I mean, would you have been happier?
Well, it's because of like Final Fantasy versus 13 and 15
right.
and stuff. Yeah.
Would you have been happier if they had made? Because I've been asking myself this: if they had made it, 10 years ago, or just a couple years after 2 came out, and it had come out. Maybe as soon as the PS3 came out, which is when I expected it to come out.
Yeah.
And, I'm sure at that time it would have been great. If this game had come out then, right?
Then it'd be...
But then by now, of course, we would never talk about it. I mean, we wouldn't be talking about it, or at least, we wouldn't be playing it, or we would be playing the remaster of the remaster. But
who knows, yeah.
But would that have been better than... I don't know, getting to play it now.
I don't know that it was worth the wait, in my opinion. Like having finished it, like I don't know that they stuck the landing in a good way. Like if you could play it all in succession, like some of the people on this podcast are possibly planning to do, like I think it would work a lot better. Right. And like there were games that were Birth by Sleep and Dream Drop Distance and stuff came out. I didn't play those when they came out. So, but like waiting from Kingdom Hearts 2 to Kingdom Hearts 3 is just like, this is what you got. And then there were just some weird decisions. Like I said, there are story beats that are picked up and then dropped that were like, I was really excited about. I had some fan theories about what was going to happen. They were not true. I'm very disappointed. But there were some cool moments in that game, and I'm interested in what they do next. But yeah, if they do anything next.
Does it feel like there's setup for more, or does it feel more like
yes, there is setup for more.
Oh, really?
Do you?
But I don't want to spoil anything. But there's setup for more, and I think what I will say is they put out Back Cover, which is a movie in the 2.9 collection or 2.8 collection rather. They could have put that out next year. They should have put that out next year or like later this year or something. They should not have put that out when they did.
Are you saying I should wait to watch the film until after I play Kingdom Hearts 3?
That is my opinion.
Interesting.
So if they continue the series, do you think Nomura's a part of it still?
I don't think that series makes sense without Nomura. He's got to zip it all up and keep it nice and fastened. There's too many big zippers in that game.
Except what?
Not be involved.
What if there was like
anyone else?
What if there was some like the next like Kingdom Hearts trilogy or whatever?
Don't do a trilogy.
It will be though.
Yeah,
like it's not just going to be. There will probably be one standalone game, like what you're saying, and then they'll jump into. They'll probably even call it Kingdom Hearts.
They're all mainline games, Pat. Nothing.
Yeah, I know. No. I'm not arguing against that. Just saying. It would be kind of cool if there was a really big tonal shift, though, in terms of like the visual design and stuff. That could be interesting.
They always tease like a big tonal shift and like visual like shift in like the post credit stuff, and then it's always like kind of minor or like it's only like a scene.
Yeah.
The end, like the secret movie in Kingdom Hearts 1 does that. The secret movie in Kingdom Hearts 2 does that. Like it's all yeah.
I remember watching those and being like, what, this is the same Kingdom Hearts that I just finished playing.
And like I think Kingdom Hearts 3, the secret movie, is very similar to the first game's secret movie, and like it's like whoa. But yeah, I'll let people find that for themselves, or you can hear about it on the spoiler cast that I recorded with Chris Edgerton.
Also,
on the Fix podcast feed.
It looks like if you own an Xbox One, Toy Story 3 is backwards compatible and available digitally.
That was the game that really set off Disney Infinity.
Yeah, so I may try to revisit that at some point in the next 50 years.
You can see me play through the game on the Gaming Fix YouTube channel. Go and find Gaming Fix on YouTube, or Ami, where can people find your dramatic playthrough?
Yes, Penny Voxel Gaming. That's penny as in nickels and dimes, and voxel as in a 3D pixel. On YouTube, in parts. I try to keep them pretty short, but yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
Very great. Alex, what have you brought to share with the class today?
Well, I mean, there's the big thing, but I think all of us are going to talk about that, so let's wait. I've been playing a couple of smaller phone games actually recently. One of which is one that you brought up, Andre. Probably, I don't know, what was it, 2 weeks ago?
Probably. Like, I don't think I ever talked about it on the podcast because I forgot I was playing it, but then I recommended it to you afterwards because you were talking about like, oh, this is really good.
Is it Goblin Sword?
What?
No, it's
is that good? I don't know what that is.
It's the best.
Wait,
Go on.
Let's talk about Goblin Sword.
Okay, what is Goblin Sword?
It is the greatest iOS game, in my opinion.
But what is it?
It's a side scroller, sort of I don't even know. I mean, like you're a guy with a sword and you fight enemies left and right, but it's sort of a puzzly collectible. But it's $3, I think, and there's no free to play aspect to it. So it's sort of.
It looks like a Metroidvania kind of.
Yeah, right. It's a Metroidvania style game. Anyway,
all I can find is Goblin Sword Camera on Android.
Right, it's not on Android.
no sale.
Doesn't exist. All right. So the one, Andre, now that I think about it, there's two we were talking about.
Yes.
The one in particular I'm thinking of came up when we were talking about Pixel Puzzle Adventure. Or
yes.
And
yes.
we ended up talking about Sudoku and stuff, and that is Tents and Trees.
Yeah. I've been playing a lot of this game.
Yeah, me too. Do you know about where you are?
I'm on like the world 10-ish stuff, like 10 by 10.
10 by 10. That's about where I am as well, actually. And it's really good. Like it is like a solid hybrid of Picross and Sudoku because it's like entirely logic. Like you can solve everything with logic. It's all about how you use your brain. There's always a solution. But I think it has the best hint system I've seen in any game, maybe. Because like, for one, it's a free-to-play game, so you expect if you're using hints that they're going to want you to like pay 1 coin to get a hint. Like,
and they're going to be like limited or whatever.
But no, it's unlimited. You could keep using it and solve every level that way if you really wanted. But the thing it does is it not only shows you what you're doing wrong or like the next thing to look at, it says why. Like
it's like,
say,
hey,
it'll point out,
this has to be like a grass square because there has to be a tent on either side of it.
Yes. So like it's explaining why. So it's actually teaching you a lot about the game while also giving you a hint. So eventually you don't need the hint system.
It's pretty deep too, as to the point where on some of the harder ones, it's like it gets you to go, because eventually you have to start thinking of things as in like, well, I know that there are like 3 in this row and 2 in this row, and every single permutation of, you have to run through like every permutation of these 2, this row and this column will mean that this square has to be grass. Yeah. And it's pretty good about conveying that through the hint system.
We should first kind of give a high level of what the game actually is.
Right. So if you're familiar with Picross, the idea of Picross is that you have a grid, let's say a 5x5 grid, and along the edges of it, there are numbers that say like 1, which means that there's 1 filled in pixel in that row or column, or 1 says 5. That means there's 5 that are filled in. Same concept here, except what you're doing is that there are little trees, and every tree has to have a tent touching one of its edges. And
there cannot be tents touching each other.
Yes, the tents cannot touch each other.
And tents have to touch a tree too.
Yep, and each tree has to have a tent touching it to solve the puzzle. So it's really clever. It's deceptively simple at the start, but once you get into the 9x9s, 10x10s, it gets real insidious in a good way.
It does a good job of ramping you up and going, okay, now you know the basics. Now we're gonna do like, okay, now here's the 6x6 hard mode. Then get 7x7. Now 7x7 hard mode. Yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's a free-to-play game, but it is completely unobtrusive with any of that stuff too. Like,
there are no ads that I've seen.
You can watch ads to get extra coins, but it doesn't. It doesn't force you to watch any.
And then you get 15 coins every like 6 hours or something, and then you have to use coins to unlock levels. I'm probably at a point where I'll need to actually wait a few days to get like enough coins to unlock the next level, or I will soon.
Yeah.
So that's annoying, but
I tossed in $2, kind of like a tip jar. I was like, I don't even really care about the coins. Like, this game is just really good, so I want to support it.
It's enjoyable.
So really good game. Totally recommend that one.
Tents and Trees.
Tents and Trees. The other one that I've been playing, which was also an Andre recommendation, was Infinitode. Is that how we're pronouncing it?
I guess, yeah.
So Infinitode, whatever, is a tower defense game. Also for I've been playing it on Android. I imagine it's on iOS. If you've played tower defense before, you know what it is. It's tower defense. But the unique hook to it is that it is very. It has an enormous tech tree, I guess you could say. Like there are, I don't know how many towers. Is it like 12?
12 or 15, somewhere in there.
Somewhere in there. And each of them have their own tree that you can upgrade in terms of skills, in terms of how much power it's outputting, how many shots per second.
And then each of those has like a series of things that go down, and
so it's pretty
base stats, the max upgrade level. Yeah,
it's pretty deep in that sense. I've been enjoying it. It's a tower defense game, so it's essentially endless. There's no real end. It's just how far can you get before everything explodes and you can no longer keep up.
It's Rogue Legacy by way of tower defense.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. I'll say it's
tower defense by way of Rogue Legacy. I don't know how that phrase works.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it has some problems. I think some of the towers in particular feel completely useless until you upgrade them. And the problem is that the upgrades can be pricey. So like you don't really know which ones to invest in because you don't know if it's going to be worth it after an upgrade or not.
Yep.
And sometimes you do upgrade and it turns out it wasn't actually that great. And you're like, well, I just wasted a bunch of coins. But that's a problem because you get a pretty decently large sum of coins at the end of a run, but each of those can take like 30 or 45 minutes depending on how far you're getting. So that trade-off sometimes isn't too great. So it's good, but it has caveats. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's free too, right?
Yep, it is free.
I paid money for that, did I? Yeah. So and it wasn't super obtrusive with ads either. So
I don't think I saw one.
So yeah, that's if you're into tower defense games, you can check out Infinitode. Infinitode, I don't know how to say it. It's a weird name.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's good if you want to spend half an hour with your phone.
Yeah.
But the last one, do we want to talk about that right now, or do we want to talk about some other things? Because it's going to take up most of the conversation.
Let's talk about something else.
We should go last with
Okay.
Allison, what do you got?
Yes. Okay. So I didn't have a lot of time to play games this week just because work was busy. But I have 3 indie games that I played a little bit of this week. So which one do you want to hear about first? Do you want to hear about the one I really like, the one that I wish I liked, or the one that I have no idea how to feel about it?
Ooh.
Let's go with the one you like.
Okay, so that's a continuation of one that we've been playing, which I've talked about, which is Wargroove, which I've been playing a little bit more of, which has been really, really fun. It's really, I don't know how much more I have to add about it from what I talked about last week, except that, Andre, you wanted to know where the groove came in?
Yes,
that's actually a special power that you get partway through where one of your commanders will get a groove, which basically allows them to do a special power, which is to either kill them or put up a shield. But there's no music related, at least from what I know.
What the fuck?
Maybe
it sounds like a Donkey Kong game.
Is there a funky mode?
Not that I found, but I'll keep you guys posted if I find one.
Thank you.
It's a groovy Kong.
Groovy Kong mode, yeah. That there is one of those. Absolutely. No, but it's really fun. I feel like it is nice to play. I mean, I've played a little bit of Advance Wars in the past, but most of the similar games I've played have been Fire Emblem. And the one thing that I'm really enjoying about doing this, to the point where I might need to go back and play more Advance Wars, is not feeling terribly guilty when some of my units are killed, because when I play Fire Emblem, I'm very much the person where I only play it where you if your unit is killed, that's it forever.
Right.
But also
Can't do that.
Save scum.
But then also
save scum,
yeah. So I play the same battle over.
It gives you a new
over.
challenge, and so you're like, you have to go through combat a lot differently than if you're like, oh, they just got knocked out. So
right, and there is something to be said for that. But the fact that I had I was playing a level where things were going not great, and I ended up losing 7 of my units, and I still got an A, which isn't the highest ranking, but it's still pretty solid. It's like, okay, this makes it feel a little bit more relaxing in a way. So that's been nice.
Is the highest rank triple S?
I don't know if there's a triple S, but there's definitely it's definitely S. Yeah.
Okay.
But although I have to, I say that, but I just got the dog units, and seeing the dog units die is not my fave. So
I hear they don't die; they run away.
They just run away.
They run away, but they run away, but you see like a little ghost on the screen afterwards. So
What?
it's
Oh,
mixed
man.
message. It's mixed messages.
Oh.
Is what I'm saying.
So they just run away and like bleed out somewhere. That's even
Oh
worse.
no!
No, they run so fast that they leave their soul behind.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's really mixed messages, but I'm just gonna keep it in mind that everybody's running away and everybody lives. Just for the out of feeling bad about dogs dying on my watch.
Everyone gets up at the end and holds hands and takes a bow.
From what I've seen of this game, if you are enjoying it, it definitely is worth playing some Advance Wars, because it looks like there's like some differences, but
Yeah,
by and large, if you're liking it mostly, I mean, you'll find a lot to love there too.
Yeah, I haven't played too much of the first Advance Wars, but I've played some of it, and combat wise, it really is very similar. But it's really, really, really fun so far. The entire package has a lot of charm, and there's so many different little bits of strategy you can throw in here and there, which has been really enjoyable. I feel.
Sorry, please.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's a really weird question that I don't know if you have an answer to. Are there any references to Starbound in it? Like, are there any Easter eggs or anything? Because this is by Chucklefish, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen any, but I'll let you know if I find any.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
I played only a little bit of Starbound, so I don't. If there's any like super deep references, I probably wouldn't get them. But
fair enough.
I'll keep an eye out. But I haven't seen anything yet. But I definitely recommend it to pretty much anybody if you're even vaguely interested in like a turn-based tactics or strategy game, because it's both accessible but really fun. And even in some of these earlier levels, there's a decent level of strategy in terms of, do I take over this base first or do I kill this enemy first? But if I take over the base, I can get more money. And it feels like there's already so many systems, but that they're all really accessible. So it's really, really quite good. And I'm interested to see, I haven't taken a look at it at all, but it actually has tools where you can create your own maps. So I'm actually really interested to see what the community for this is going to look like in a while.
Yeah, that was the big seller for me for Advance Wars, is that, like, as someone who did a lot of road trips with friends when I was a kid, like having Advance Wars and playing big, huge multiplayer games of it was like something that we would spend, like, of an 8-hour road trip, we would spend 6 hours passing Game Boys back and forth to do the hot seat on like created maps and stuff too, because they had map creators too. So I probably wouldn't use it as much in Wargroove because I'm not in that situation as much, but it's really cool that they kind of kept that concept intact there.
Yeah, and now that I've only just taken a look inside of it, but since there's internet connectivity now, you can play pretty much all these different levels created by a bunch of different people. So yeah, it's really rad. So I'm really enjoying it so far, and I would be. This is very early to start talking about, but I'd be deeply surprised if it didn't show up in my top 10 of the year. Just because I'm really, really loving it.
One of my Twitter friends is the marketing person for Wargroove, and she put out a post of her favorite custom levels on Twitter the other day. Apparently, she was like, "Yeah, I spent like a week and a half working on this. It's a really, really good, really full-featured post. I will link it to you."
Cool. Oh, that'd be wonderful. Thank you. I'd love to see that. Yeah, that's super cool.
We're going to make Dead Space and Wargroove.
Maybe you could. I don't know how you would, but you do you.
Oh, sorry. Has anybody touched the Dreams beta?
No.
Oh, no, I haven't.
I didn't get invited.
Either.
I think I'm
also not good at making things. So
is it open now though?
I think it's no, it's over.
Okay. I thought there were some open dates.
I think
maybe not.
I don't think it was ever open, but I think it was like there were some. It was like,
no, you're right.
Invite, and then like you could apply for.
And then it was closed and then NDA'd, and then people started leaking stuff, and then Media Molecule said, "Whatever, stream it." So
I think there was going to be a point where the NDA was up anyway, but I don't know. Yeah,
I think they just moved it up.
People broke the NDA and showed like the Dead Space thing and PT, and
I think it's a little frustrating to me that was like I mean, I get why, I understand, but the thing that was like people were like blown away by was PT remakes and Dead Space remakes, because I understand that the reason people are excited is that it shows what it can do, but like I don't want to play Dead Space or PT.
No, but like
I want to play something really cool.
The fidelity and like what you can create in that space using like a DualShock and the tools
for sure.
Very impressive. It puts it on the level of like Unreal.
Yeah.
At least in like what you can craft.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that, Allison.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, I was been thinking about that too, because I haven't. I'm interested to see what comes out of that.
It's going to be PT as a strategy game.
Absolutely. Well, I'd play it and still be terrified, even with a strategy game. The other two games that I have there's one that I wish I liked, and then there's one that's just weird.
What do you think? What do you think makes more sense after Wargroove?
Let's just go with the one I wish I liked, which is a game called Serial Cleaner. It came out a while ago, but I played it. I saw it on sale on the Switch, and I really do want to pick up more indie games this year and just try to, even though stuff that I don't know what it's going to be like. And it's actually a pretty interesting game, and I'm pretty glad I picked it up. Because basically it's a game where you're playing a person who's cleaning up after the mob. And so you're going, they give you a call, and it's kind of Hotline Miami-esque, where they give you a call and then you go to a location and you have to do a certain amount of cleaning, whether it's picking up some evidence or cleaning up pools of blood or mostly like disposing of bodies. So it's a really interesting idea, and there's a lot of interesting visual design elements to it. But I think that the comparison to something like Hotline Miami is kind of its downfall, because whereas Hotline Miami, I mean, if you lost in a level, you had to redo the entire thing. It's still it was very fast paced, whereas with this, it's a lot of stealth and sneaking around guards to dispose of bodies and things. So there's a lot of times where you're just hiding out, trying to move past someone, which makes it a little bit annoying to go back and redo. The other thing is that a lot of the stealth is really spotty. The AI for the guards, I don't know if this is on purpose, but it's kind of bad. Mostly because if you're out of their sight for maybe 5 seconds, they're just going to forget about you. To the point where if you are running away from a guard and you run into one of the hiding spots in the map, it automatically is just like, well, that person's gone, so I did a good job. And then you can just go back to what you're doing, which adds a little bit of strategy to it, but then also is a little bit silly. So it's one of those games where I played a couple hours of it, and I'd really like it to be good, just because I do want more games that are trying to do interesting things like that, where the mechanic is less murder sim and more try something interesting. I just don't know if it succeeds at everything it's trying to do.
That idea or whatever of you're being stealthy and you're being very careful and you're spending like way longer than you should doing something, and then you die because you make a careless mistake and you have to go all the way back, and then it's like, do I even want to keep going, is like such a problem for me. And I would probably throw that game at the wall just because I would get frustrated. But I tend to go stealth in games that give you the option, and not all games give it to you quite as formally as they do like the action, direction. In a game like Far Cry, I will pretty much always go stealth. I will always go with my, sniper bow and silenced pistol and try and take everything out that way. And that's certainly an option, but I don't think it's quite the way the game was designed. And so I will spend like 40 minutes trying to take out an entire stronghold one guy at a time. And I'll be like, this is great. This is so much fun. I'm such a, stealthy badass. And then, I die right when I'm about to beat it. And I'm like, oh, so I just spent, 10 times longer taking down that stronghold than anybody else would. And if they had died at this point, they would be like, fine, I'll just try again, shoot everyone up. And I just get tired.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I think that the one thing that makes it possible for me to get into those kinds of games is if there's a way to either get rid of some of the guards or like at least incapacitate people so that there's a feeling of like, okay, I'm making it easier for me as I go along. Whereas this doesn't have any of that kind of mechanic. So it's, you just are kind of constantly having to fight around the guards. And I mean, like, even if you've completed all the objectives of a level, like there's you still have to kind of sneak around. Like with Hotline Miami, there's once you've completed all the objectives, you just have that kind of cool, kind of horrifying walk through all of what you have done back to your car. Whereas here it's like, oh, but you've done everything, but you're on the opposite side of the map from your car and you still have to sneak around. And it's just very, I don't know. I think that there's a lot to the idea, but it's just it needs a little bit more polish to make it something I'd really enjoy.
Right. One way to kind of get around that frustration, because you're right, if you spend 45 minutes doing an extremely stealthy playthrough of whatever game, like Deus Ex comes to mind. One of the obvious ways to get around it is save scumming. Like, does this game allow you to do any of that, or is there any kind of save state for where you're in, or is it just the level?
I don't think so. I think it's just a level. I haven't really tried it, and to be honest, I don't know how much more I'm going to be playing of it.
That's fair.
But
you're playing on Switch, right? So probably if there were save states, it'd be less likely to be on Switch, but maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. Did you ever play Viscera Cleanup Detail?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something I kind of want more games like that. Viscera Cleanup Detail was enjoyable for what I played of it, but I feel like there was enough like kind of frustrating bits that made it not quite as satisfying as I wish it was. Like,
it's kind of just a gag though, so
right, it totally is. And it's mostly like supposed to be like, oh haha, this is the person who's cleaning up after a giant
Shadow Warrior, or after the Doom Marine came through and ripped apart a bunch of demons, you got to clean up after him and dispose of all the biohazard.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
There are times where you kick over one of your buckets and all the blood is everywhere, and it's just awful. But yeah, I
didn't know this was a subgenre of games. What's the pinnacle of? I mean, You've described two of these games as not as good as you wish they were, but they must not be as good as like some standard you hold them to. If you keep going back to them.
Not really the same, but House Flipper is probably it. It just came out last year, and I played it when I moved into my new apartment, which I didn't want to put stuff away in my own apartment, but I was like, it's basically you taking junk houses and making them nice again.
House Flipper is extremely relaxing.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. And it feels satisfying because you take it's a good podcast game though. It's a game where you go into a room and it's just absolutely filthy and disgusting, and then you make it beautiful.
Yeah, you just like click a bunch.
Yeah.
Allison,
but
sorry. I was gonna say
no. It's very boring, but it's very relaxing and well made.
Oh, totally. I don't play it very often, but occasionally I get that like little urge, so then I play it and listen to a podcast, and it's
knowing you, Allison, I think I do know what the pinnacle is, and I think it's I think it's Katamari.
Oh, that's right. That's totally it. Oh my gosh, you like hit the nail on the head there, because I love
Katamari game that takes place in the Doom universe after the Doom Marine gone through a level. You just have all the demon parts.
Yeah, a bunch of demon parts stuck to your ball.
Big. And then that's the final boss of the game.
I mean, I'd play it. I'll play any Katamari, so 100%.
I've written that down. I've written that game idea down and mailed it to myself. Do not take it.
You just have to mail an MP3 of this podcast to yourself.
There we go.
Yeah, nobody took that idea. It's Andres.
Yep.
I'm going to become a millionaire, and we can all come on my yacht when the world is eventually flooded. Alex, you're first since you're on an island. It's probably in a bad spot.
I'm on an island.
Oh yeah, that's well, I'm closer to Alex, so
It's true.
We'll go through.
True.
Maybe there'll be like a Central American country that's completely underwater. I can sail.
Technically, Sam's on an island.
Yeah,
That's right.
I'm on an island.
He's even
closer to
further
Sam.
away.
That's
I
true.
have no way to get to Sam.
Wait,
So, but like time zone wise,
You just need to make pit stops. You can grab Alex.
Yeah, Alex. That's Pat, and then Allison. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
you're fine. But wait,
just go to the mounted fortress that you have.
so wait, Allison,
Yeah.
that last game you're talking about, you've actually played it? It actually exists? It's something you can interact with?
Yeah, I played it. Okay, so the game that I'm talking about, I only played it like an hour and a half today, so I don't know how much, but I don't know how much more there is. It's a game called Sqool, which spelled with a Q. It just came out, and I saw the Giant Bomb Quick Look this morning, and 3 minutes in, I immediately bought it because I knew that I needed to play it. So basically, it was created by an artist, Julian Glender. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but it's who does a lot of digital art. And basically, you are at this really surrealist art school being taught by an AI professor, Q, that has looked at a bunch of art and is like, I know how to critique art, gives you prompts, and you have to explore this world to pick up the various tools to do your art and make art based off of the prompts and get feedback, which I have no idea what the system for giving feedback is, but it's in there somehow. But yeah, that's kind of it. I don't know if there's an ending if you finish all the assignments. I don't know if there's much more, but it is very much an art game of wandering around a surrealist landscape and making your own art. So if that sounds appealing to you, I'd hesitate to recommend it to anybody who isn't immediately going, yes, this is the game I want to play. Because it is weird. It's very strange. It's made. I don't know. It's hard to say if it's made well or not because feels like it's made the exact way he wanted it to be made, but it's very strange and surreal. So if that sounds good to you, then I recommend playing it. But if it's not, then I feel like that's pretty normal because
based on the spelling of this title, it sounds like this guy needs to go to regular school.
I always thought it was so silly that Toys R Us had their R backwards, as if all the kids learning to read and going to Toys R Us are probably going to write their R's that way on their next whatever.
The thing that's so weird though is how many people actually that's such a common trope for showing stereotypical kid writing is to have them doing letters backwards, but how many kids actually do letters backwards?
It's true.
A lot of my students do D's and B's backwards.
Oh, okay.
But that could be for cognitive linguistic reasons. But also school with a K and kids with a Z.
Being an English as a second language teacher, you get a lot of interesting spellings, especially when they use a lot of loan words, they use katakana words, which is how they spell out their own words. So it's a lot of phonetic, but weird, just off phonetic with extra letters. When they spell my name, it's on do re. So they always put an O in the middle of my name. I'm like, it's not. It is literally written on the board right now.
So have you ever had them try to spell something like hamburger and they just get like hamburger? Like,
Well, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does everyone here know how Andre and I became acquainted?
No.
I don't know if that's how we initially became acquainted.
We were both in the drama department, but we did also both TA for a Japanese class for I did it for like 6 months, and then I stopped going in the morning because I was like, no, I don't need to go to school first period. Yeah.
And look at you now. Working at school.
Now I go to school early every fucking day.
For money.
For money. That's the important part. Not enough money, but for some money. Sam.
Hello.
What have you been playing?
So I've played some bits and bobs this week. I actually played some Yakuza today. I don't know if you heard of it. I think Yakuza 6 it is. I think it's a game.
That sounds neat.
Yeah,
Sounds
I think
like a game that might be popular with some people.
Yeah, a small number of people might find it popular.
Maybe we should talk about it.
Incredibly emotional and ugly cry at it.
Yeah.
Maybe it should come up at some kind of year of the games talking.
Yeah.
Sounds
This
like
was our
maybe
number 2 game of the year.
one of the 2 best games of 2018.
Was it?
It was.
I mean, in some people's point of view. So
Yes, in this podcast point of view, where we did an 8-hour-long stream determining what our number 2 game of the year was, it was ours.
Yeah, that was the point of the stream, was finding out the number 2.
Yeah. Because we already knew what the number 1 was because it was the best game. Anyway, I played since I've last been on the podcast, I've played 2 betas. I've played the Anthem beta and the Division 2 beta. I don't know whether you guys talked about Anthem very much.
We did talk about Anthem.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about the Division kind of in relation to Anthem because I've only played about an hour of the Division and I've not finished the content yet. So yeah, I played the Division 1 and really enjoyed it. So, that's kind of frame of reference for that. But I really enjoyed the Division 1 and I played to max level, but I didn't finish the story because I played a lot of missions 2 or 3 times to play them with friends. Okay, he's having too much fun now. Sorry, my cat is having an extremely good time. So I played Division 2 beta, and first off, the big takeaway that I had from playing the beta was that it was stunning. It's really, really nice looking game, which I was not expecting at all from a Clancy game. And then the other thing was that it just felt so much better to play than Division 2.
Division 1?
I don't remember how the Division played.
Wait. You said Division 2 felt better to play than Division 2?
Yeah, I meant to say Anthem. So It just played a lot nicer than Anthem. I just I don't know why, but it just felt like everything was just what I was expecting. Every control was where I was expecting it to be.
It's because it plays exactly like the Division 1. It's the Division 1, but +1. And they have a bad drone control.
Division 1+1 is a good way to put that.
They should have called the game, and the fact that they didn't is a travesty.
Yeah.
1+1.
I first played the Division 1 after looking up a list of top 10 most realistic representations of New York City in video games. And it made me really excited. And I played it a bit and I really enjoyed it. And I was really looking forward to the Division 2. It was a while after the Division 1 came out. And I think by then there was already gameplay footage of Division 2 out. And I saw it and I'm like, wow, it just looks like the Division 1, but prettier. And I was really excited because Ubisoft sent me a closed beta invitation a couple days ago, but it was they sent me a code for the Xbox version, and I couldn't play it.
You probably could have like contacted support and been like, "Hey, I don't have an Xbox."
I thought about that. The idea of talking to Ubisoft customer service did not sound appealing to me. But
didn't you have the same thing? But
I requested a PS4 code on like the thing, and they sent me a PC code, which is fine. Like I played the Division 1 on PC. My PC is decent. But yeah, I requested PS4 code, and they sent me PC.
I didn't even request it, and I don't know. So I don't know.
Have you ever played the Division on an Xbox? Do you have an Xbox account?
You know, it probably was on an Xbox that I played it. Now that you mention it, I don't have that Xbox anymore.
There you go.
Damn.
So they sent me an email that was like, pick where you want your code. Like,
really?
You can have it on anything. And like I clicked on PS4 and redeemed it, and then I was like, can I get one on Xbox as well? But I didn't bother trying. But yeah, it literally just led me to a page that was like, pick your poison. What platform?
I was hoping it was like a one code fits all sort of thing, and then I realized the Xbox codes are like twice as long as the PS4 codes.
But like you could have like, what was it? Anthem. You just went to like the EA store page and then set it, and then it was like, oh, where do you want the game? And then it gave you a code for it or whatever. But
is the beta over? I'll try it right now.
No, it's
still running.
Yeah, so it's probably through the end of today or early tomorrow.
We should also probably talk about how like bullshit it is that my EA account that is attached to my PSN ID is not my main Origin account, and there is no way for me to change that.
Yep, I've
asked them that multiple times.
Thanks, EA.
Yep. I registered my Origin account with my Hotmail address from like middle school. And all my purchases are on that. That address doesn't exist anymore. So if anything goes wrong, I can't even use my
Can you not contact support and be like, "Yo, this is not a thing that works anymore"?
Because I also registered it with my regular like new email address, and they're just like, "Yeah, well, we can't."
Let me
merge
tell
them.
you, I do not like to trash customer service for things because it's like. My job is kind of customer service adjacent. It's in marketing. But I do deal with some customer service stuff sometimes. Mm-hmm. But EA's customer service is far and away the worst customer service I've ever experienced from any organization or company. They never have provided a solution. I've had probably 10 issues with them that have all resulted in me just being out money or just giving up on playing the game ever. Yep. Like they never fix anything. There are no systems in place for them to fix anything at that company.
Yeah. But how's the Division?
It's fun to play.
Cool. But you really liked the Division 1, right?
Yeah, I did like the Division 1. It's not even remotely on a par with Destiny, but I would say that it's kind of the middle ground at the moment. I'd be super interested to see how much content is in the Division 2, because Division 1 had quite a long campaign. Like, I remember it taking like 2 or 3 times as long as I was expecting. And again, I did play every optional piece of side content that came up, and I played a lot of the missions multiple times with some friends. Because I had 2 separate groups of friends who all decided they wanted to play the Division but didn't know each other and didn't want to play with each other. So every now and then I would have to play the same mission twice.
Every now and then I have to play this mission again.
Exactly, that's what I was saying.
Every now and then I get a little bit lonely.
I'm going to play by myself.
Okay. Alex, I don't think you will like the Division 2.
No?
You didn't like the Division 1, correct?
Well, because I played the Division 1. I played it with some friends, but I mostly played it on my own. And at some point, that game was impossible to play on your own.
They say that, didn't they say like everything should be doable on
soloable now? Yeah.
I believe they rebalanced everything.
Are you talking about like the bullet sponginess aspect of it specifically?
Yeah, and also there were certain like bosses or mini bosses where part of the mechanic was you had to distract them with one person and get the other person behind them.
Yeah.
Which made it impossible to do as a solo player. So
I think they fixed a lot of that like a year and a half or two after the Division came out, actually.
Yeah, I never really encountered any of that when I was playing it. Like there were certainly like some real tough missions that you kind of needed more people with, but it sounds like they balanced it so you could do every activity in the game alone if you wanted.
Okay, I played at launch, so maybe that's where the difference lied.
Yeah, I had the same problem at launch. I've often thought I should try to go back and
I mean, I didn't play it at launch, and if I played it on Xbox, which it seems like I probably did, then I played it like last summer, which I should probably remember because that wasn't that long ago. And I remember feeling like, oh, I should really have taken that guy out already, and it didn't work. And maybe I was playing an unupdated version. I don't know, but I just know that in the reviews for the Division 2, they said like that aspect is still present. But they didn't say it like it was a negative. So
yeah, I think it's in a loot shooter, it's always going to be there. Like,
yeah, I guess that's the kind of like we've talked about it a lot in chat, and this is like my concern with the Division 2. And I don't want to talk about the game that I'm going to mention at length because I've just been playing it a little bit. It's old, whatever. But something I've been noticing, I've been playing Rebel Galaxy, the first one, and one thing that game does really well is like you start out and you're like a capital ship, it's like a frigate, and you go on these missions and you fight like a swarm of fighters and one other ship your size, and it's tough, and you're kind of like, wow, I made it out of there alive, that's great. And then all that game is you're just grinding out money to get better gear. The story is and it's really just a game where you're like grinding out money, getting better gear, getting bigger ships. Everything's just getting bigger. The numbers are getting bigger, just like in these loot shooter kind of games. But it feels good because now I can take on like 4 frigates at a time because I have better guns and better shields and everything. And the thing that the Division didn't do for me, that even Destiny doesn't really do for me, is I still feel like I'm having the same fight every time. It's just now I can do it because I have better gear. And I really hope that the Division 2 gets away from that a little bit. I don't mind it if it's a little bullet spongy, as long as it feels like there's actual progression and not just I'm doing this stuff to keep on par with the enemies. That's what I kind of don't want to see.
That was pretty much my exact problem with the Division 1, was that you always felt like you were at a deficit. It never felt like you were powerful enough to, like that you were gaining power. It's just you were always at a deficit and catching up.
Like end game, I felt like I like surpassed my enemies. They struck me down, and then I came back more powerful than they could ever imagine. And I was just sniping them from real far away, and like, you don't know where I am. Yeah, gotcha.
Pat, I'm with you. If they fix that, I think I'd be fine. And I guess Sam, you've been playing it, so does it feel like your ability to play it as a shooter matters at all? Because I felt like in the Division 1 you could get a bunch of headshots and it was kind of crits, but it never felt like it made that much of a difference.
Right, that's what I thought.
Like you do like a single headshot on a guy doesn't take them down usually in a simple way.
Start at least.
Yeah. Right. It's difficult to say. I mean, like I had a quick look on like a quick Google around while we were talking, and Ubisoft have come out and said that every single piece of content in Division 2 will be soloable, and like designed to play as a solo player, and then shifted up if you have more players with you. Okay. So, and that even includes endgame content and raids, apparently.
That's very interesting.
That's kind of neat, yeah.
Yeah, and they're doing the same 100% free DLC thing that Anthem is doing
for like the first year.
Yeah,
right. Well, that makes it, that sounds more interesting.
Yeah, like when it comes to Anthem versus Division, when it comes to Anthem versus Division, for me at this point, it really comes down to like I don't really care about the military aesthetic.
Same.
Like, I'm just like
plays better. That's the thing. I will play both. Anyway,
I am more interested in what Anthem's doing gameplay wise with like the flying and stuff. I find that more engaging than like the realistic New York or like DC setting. And so like if I were to pick between those two, personally, I'd probably pick Anthem at this point. But like what I played as Division 2, it plays fine.
Sorry, I just had to laugh. I just remembered that stupid tweet that Ubisoft did. About come experience the real government shutdown.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that was dumb as hell. That was an email they sent out, and then they sent out an email shortly later going, "We apologize for the previous."
It's so dumb.
The first
good.
mission in that beta is you storming or you defending the White House, or coming up behind some people attacking the White House, and then that's where the first safe zone is, I guess. The first,
That's weird.
Very weird.
Weird.
But and then it wasn't the end of the Division 2 or the Division 1 a reveal that actually maybe the Division isn't good.
That
I
sounds
didn't
like
finish
something
it,
that would
so-
never be in a Tom Clancy story.
There was, I think so. Maybe, I forget. I played it last summer too, and I don't remember.
Well, if I end
It's
up,
not just me.
if the Division 2 comes out and it's doing really, really well, I'll probably try to zip through the Division 1 at some point before playing Division 2.
Mhm.
Pat, you don't need to play.
You don't need to do this to yourself.
You don't need to
don't.
play the Division 2 or Anthem at all. They're going to be repetitive loot shooters. But
But why
yeah, it
do
is-
you want
it
to
is a
play
loot shooter, so
a
Sam will
less
play it,
good
Sam will like it.
repetitive loot shooter which has a terrible story?
because it's in my
before you
Steam
play it?
library and I don't have to pay $60 to do it.
Okay, right. I thought you would have to still buy it.
No. I mean, it is also $5 to buy it, but
Is it?
yeah, to buy the first Division, yeah.
Wow. I didn't
It's,
know it was that
I
long.
got it pretty cheap on the summer sale. Yeah.
Yep.
And the DLC too. It was.
Did
I
they,
think I played it on Game Pass. So I didn't pay anything on a Game Pass free trial.
so
I bought the gold edition on launch day for £70.
that's a lot. But
It's double the price.
yeah. Do you remember when they announced it at E3? They talked about that iPad app where someone could call in drones and stuff. Did that ever happen?
No, they explicitly came out and were like, "There's no way to do this without making it and make it fun."
Oh, okay.
So we're not going to do it.
Okay.
They were like, "This was the idea, but it doesn't work." Sorry,
There's
everyone.
also several years after the smart glass stuff passed that the Division finally came out.
Red Dead 2 with apparently has a very good iPad app.
It's just I can never get the Fallout 4 app didn't work with PC or something. It's just what? It's so I never used it, but apparently people liked it. But
I used it.
apparently,
Anyway,
yeah. There's another game that came out, a surprise release.
I don't think so.
Is this the last one? Is this the big one?
I think
I think it's the last one.
Is this the big dog?
By God, that's Randy Orton's music. The Apex Legends Slayer.
It's real good
He
though.
should change his name to the Apex Legend.
So Apex Legends is a new surprise release from Respawn Entertainment. Is it Respawn Entertainment?
Yes.
Yes.
The former Titanfall 2 developers, former Infinity Ward, Vince Zampella, creators of Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
And not a sequel to Apex on Xbox. Xbox.
That
I
we
think that's an
know of
important
yet.
distinction to make.
The lore is not fully developed yet.
Right.
They could do a lore dump and turn out, hey, this is a sequel to Apex on the Xbox. I don't know what Apex is.
Yeah,
It was a
this is
racing
the real
game.
reason.
But, yeah.
There's no cars yet. Well, there are cars on the map, but you can't drive them. Anyway, so apparently after Titanfall 2, Respawn was just messing around with gameplay ideas, and someone made a real big map and tried to get as many people as they could onto that map. You know what's hot right now and has big maps with a lot of players? Battle Royale games. You know what else people really like? Overwatch. So they kind of made an Overwatch Battle Royale.
Which kind of
But
sounds
to be
like
super
Blackout.
reductive of it. Kind of, I guess. I don't know. I played a little bit of Blackout and I didn't care for it. Pat, you are the one who has really been enamored with this game.
Yeah.
So please tell us about Apex Legends.
Oh, it's it's a battle royale game, but it definitely feels like a battle royale game for people who don't even necessarily care about the concept of a battle royale. It's really the takeaway is not that it's a new battle royale game. It's that it's the new game from Respawn. Definitely. I think that's the thing that really people should latch onto. But kind of mechanically, what it does differently. I found that my history with Battle Royale was like PUBG. I played a lot of it. Then I slowly realized that I don't like it, and that what I really liked was a game that was structured that way that I could play with friends. And then, nobody that I knew ever really got into Fortnite. We actually played a lot more of Save the World than of the Battle Royale. And it's well made, but I don't really care for the shooting in it, and I don't really like the building stuff. So it's just not been for me. And Blackout was one that I played some of, but it ended up it felt better to me than PUBG, but it has the same problem where I don't like the pace of those games. After having played a lot of PUBG, you tend to just get like sniped from really far away. If you're not a really good player and you know what you're doing and you're good at shooting, which I'm not great at shooters, it tends to be crawl around, grab a bunch of stuff, get into one fight, and then you die. And the speed at which it operated just wasn't fast enough for that to be fun for me. The thing with Apex Legends, like, it differentiates itself because it's you play as these specific characters that kind of resemble Overwatch characters in some ways. They're careful to not use the term hero, which is fair because
legend.
Yeah, but there's more to avoiding the term hero shooter than that. I think it's different than what you expect from a typical hero shooter as you get deeper. I know, Andre, when you were playing, you were saying that you didn't think that the hero abilities mattered that much, or that you didn't feel like they mattered as much as you assumed they should. Was kind of the impression that I was getting.
I think it's more like I was still getting used to, like, okay,
That's
when
fair.
do I use this? And like,
Yeah. I have another friend that I've been playing with who basically said that he didn't think that the hero abilities mattered that much. And I think that's like crazy because like a huge part of this game is how that stuff works.
Yeah, I think like some of them matter. I think actually all of them are very useful. It's just learning to be comfortable when to use them. And like, Overwatch has the same thing. It's when do I use this? And then like remembering to use it and stuff, because it's a whole new thing for the like Battle Royale game to have all these like side abilities.
It's so smart because it's not just, they didn't just paint Overwatch characters onto a Battle Royale. There are certainly characters that have some basic similarities to like Gibraltar is a good example of someone who could be in a lot of different games. Like he has an area shield. He shields when he aims down sights, and he calls it an airstrike. That sounds like a Call of Duty character. That could be a character in the Black Ops competitive multiplayer for sure.
He could be
Winston. Yes, exactly. But by contrast, though, like most of the characters are things like, if you look at Bangalore, which is she's a kind of standard soldier type. She's a good example of a character that could exist in a Call of Duty competitive kind of situation, but her abilities are so important when it comes to the Battle Royale setting, because she shoots smoke. She can call down a different kind of airstrike, and then she runs faster when she's being shot at is her passive.
Yeah,
those abilities take on such a different meaning in this setting than they would in a standard competitive multiplayer setting. And it's fascinating to see how that works. Like other characters are even more specific to the setting. Someone like Bloodhound, they can find like clues in the environment, and they can like their Q does you have three abilities: a passive that generally is always on, sometimes it's a little different. Then a Q that you hit your tactical ability on Q is the default binding on PC, and it does like a kind of quick ability that usually recovers your cooldown in like 10 to 20 seconds, sometimes a little longer, sometimes a little less. Then you have an ultimate ability that charges over time. So like Bloodhound, their Q is a quick ping to see if people are around, and you get like a last known position on them, and it's very close range, so you can see if they're like in the same building as you, basically. And like that's really cool. It's also super tactical because other people can see your ping from farther away than your ping reveals them.
And other people being not your teammates,
right? And it's very interesting the way that works tactically. So I'm not going to run through the list of every single character's abilities, but they're super interesting and like highly recommended. And then on top of that, I think the other main thing that really sets this game apart is that you have to play it in squads of 3. And I really don't think that will ever change. I could see them maybe adding additional squad sizes potentially.
If they can make the map bigger. Or not bigger, if they can make the player count larger, I think that works. If they can't make it larger, then I don't see them making like 4-player squads.
I will play this game even if they add solos and stuff, but I don't see this game. I think it's perfect at 60 players with 3-person squads. Personally, I think there's enough room. I don't think it's as sparse with people as some people have said, especially as you start to realize the way you're kind of supposed to play it, which is different than other battle royales. But that forcing you to play in 3-player squads is awesome because it means that these characters' kits all interact in ways to produce these really interesting combos, basically. And that's extremely cool. And then also, they've made it so that you don't need to worry about talking to other people because the ping system that's there is like completely revolutionary and incredible. Yeah, like it is like perfect.
Easily the best in a game yet.
yeah. I mean, it's simple too. It's not like it's complicated in some way, and that's why it's so good. It's just that anytime you point it at anything, you have a context sensitive ping button, and it'll call out whatever you're looking at. And by default, it's like basically saying, "I'm going to go here." If you point at a gun on the ground, it'll call out to your teammates that the gun is there. They'll get an icon on their map. Then they can ping the icon that you just laid down, and then it'll keep the icon on their HUD. And then no one else can pick up the thing that you just pinged.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah. When you call dibs on something, other people can't pick it up.
I actually didn't know that. That's super cool.
Yeah. Until it expires, until the dibs expires. As far as I know, somebody was saying that it worked that way for me. I didn't actually test it myself. So it could just be that they were not reading the UI right. Possibly. So don't at me. But then on top of that, like kind of the third pillar, I think, is the time to kill is really, really good in this game. It's higher than in PUBG. So in PUBG, in a lot of cases, like if you stand up in a farm, in a field and get shot one time, you're like, well, my game's done. It doesn't matter what armor you've collected. It doesn't matter. Like you will die like very, very quickly. Whereas in Apex, it certainly can feel sometimes like maybe you're getting kind of screwed because you died quickly to a couple of shotgun blasts, but generally, especially at range, you have a chance to survive encounters that even if you're not the first one to see the other person, and that's really, really cool. And then when you get close, you get these like you actually have to reload in order to kill someone. You generally can't just shoot them with what ammo is in your weapon. So there's a little more positioning and tactical kind of moving around the tighter environments. And even things like punching does a lot of damage in this game. You can actually punch someone and knock them down after like 3 to 4 punches. And unlike games like PUBG where you like punch each other back and forth like 400 times. So all that stuff combines just to make a really, really cool experience. There's other little things like they call out on the HUD when you're in a high loot area. There's cool little touches on the map. Like there's a ring every map that moves around that gives you the highest tier of possible loot. So a bunch of people will always be drawn to drop there. There's a supply ship that flies around that always has good loot on it that you can drop on at the beginning. And that's always a fun, like little fight.
Get stuck in the geometry.
Yeah. I did get stuck in the geometry when we were playing last night. And it resulted in the deaths of Andre and my friend that we were playing with.
That's pretty funny.
But it's a fantastic game, and the fact that it came out of nowhere is like really, really cool. And it's totally, I think it's 100% actually because they didn't want Epic to just introduce character archetypes into Fortnite and try to do all the stuff that they're doing with a drawn out announcement and marketing period.
Yeah.
But
man, that game is neat. There's so many other like little things that evolve the genre in a really unique way that I feel weird. Like I like PUBG. It wasn't on my top 10 that year, but I played like 200 to 300 hours of it. But like no fall damage. That's huge.
Yeah, that's really fun.
Like,
it changes the way you play that game entirely.
Yeah. Yep. And like the sliding movement, like that changes a lot. The like you were talking about squads, like and having those abilities kind of combo and stuff. Like it had me think of it kind of like how I would think of Dota. It's like, oh, what happens if we bring Winston guy and fart guy together, and then like put them in a building rather than bring them outside. I don't know their actual names. Sorry.
Gibraltar and Caustic.
Yes, thank you.
That is maybe my biggest complaint. Is some of the names are just not like hard to remember, like Lifeline and like Pathfinder are like.
I feel like a lot of people
good names.
Sorry, Allison?
I feel like Apex Legends in general has been hard to remember for me.
Sometimes.
I feel like sometimes I'm just like, what is that game? And I know it's on the tip of my tongue, and I'm like, oh yeah, Apex Legends, where it doesn't immediately come to mind like something like say Overwatch or PUBG.
It's probably just because I've been playing it a ton all week. When people have been saying it's a bad name and that the characters are too generic, I've been like, what do you mean? It's fine. Gibraltar is the big guy, and Caustic is the fart guy, and Mirage uses Mirage.
I still say Gibraltar should be straight. Everyone else can be gay. Gibraltar must be straight.
No.
Why?
We can't go into this because of the straight to Gibraltar. This joke has been.
Oh God!
Andre has been working this joke. It's never sold
into every
still not
every
getting over
avenue. No, every character can be gay, but Gibraltar must be straight.
That's terrible, and I love it. But I think one of the other things that like originally I kind of felt the same way about like it being pure squads and only squads is kind of a bummer. But when you look at the respawn mechanic, like you have bled out, you're dead, and someone else can pick up your tag or whatever, and then bring you to that beacon, and you can actually like come back into the game. Like that's actually pretty
with nothing.
Yeah, literally nothing.
Yeah, with nothing.
That is a problem. But
you know, like that's kind of fair. Hopefully your buddy will have killed somebody or something. But
well, you can carry two guns too. So if you're playing with people, they'll drop a gun for you.
It makes it so, but like that, the respawn mechanic makes it so much more heartbreaking when that last person on your squad dies.
Yeah. Or if they just leave.
Like I've been in a party that has won like 4 games of PUBG, but I only really count 2 of them because the other 2 that I've been in for, I died like 10 minutes into the game, and then I sat and watched my friend play for 30 minutes.
Sure. And
then they did some bullshit at the end and won. Like, so the way that the respawning works, it's nice because you never really end up in that situation. Sure, like 1 in 10 games, maybe you'll have to sit and watch someone play for 5 minutes. But for starters, the games never take that long. So it's
like 20 minutes is kind of the max.
And then on top of that, like the respawning mechanic means that it's unlikely that as long as they grabbed your card, the times it's happened to me, it's been when someone ran from the fight because they weren't going to be able to fight, and then they couldn't recover banners. But they usually die pretty quick anyway. Because
speaking of banners, like there's just so many things I love about it, like the giant banners that show the currently like in the lead team, and just like showing like they have 4 kills, like they have all this stuff, like just that part of the environment.
It's even more of a blood sport than PUBG.
Yeah, like it's just
there's cool. Like the announcer, like new kill leader.
Yeah, and then like your characters will quip on it. Yeah, it's just so good. And to go back to something else you were saying, Pat, the ping system. I was talking about this with Cheska because she's been playing it solo as well. And she says, yeah, when I play games online, I never turn on my voice chat because I'm a woman. And if I do, I get harassed a lot. So like the fact that people can play this game 100% without ever needing to turn on their microphone, like
that's actually something that I've been wondering about because I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but it's like partially downloaded, so I'll be playing it soon. But I was definitely wondering about how that kind of making you play as a squad would work when you are specifically not going to put on any voice chat.
Yeah. And the pinging makes it completely feasible because on top of the context sensitive pings, like pinging an item and saying this is here, or double clicking your ping and then saying there's an enemy here, you hold the ping button and then like there's a whole context sensitive menu. You can say someone's been here, or I'm looting here, or whatever.
On PC, you can just hit F and it does the enemy ping button automatically.
Yep.
Well, but if you miss the enemy though, it'll say it do a go here, so you have to double tap.
No. If you hit F it always does the enemy.
Sorry, I rebound F to the standard ping.
Then you're a pervert.
My middle mouse button, I've never understood how people think that clicking a middle mouse button is in any way, shape, or form acceptable as a quick thing in a first-person shooter. Because on the mouse, where you don't have to put more pressure on the middle mouse button than you do on the standard buttons, and it always fucks me up.
Yeah, agreed.
Because I like then I move it in a bad way. I don't know, but yeah, if you double tap the standard ping button, then it'll also say there's an enemy here. So that's just what I do when
one of the things I like about it is it's a lot more vertical than PUBG, which, I mean, coming from the Titanfall developers, you'd expect like multi-tiered and like very interesting geometry in your levels. And like, I do not want to engage with the building in Fortnite at all. 100% do not want to do it.
Yeah.
So like a battle royale that does, I guess Ring of Elysium probably does that, like with the snowboarding and the climbing and stuff. I've never played that, but
the thing though that's cool about the verticality in Apex is that between the way that the different sections of the map are walled and the way that the sniper rifle ranges are so drastically reduced compared to something like PUBG.
This is like a 200 to 300 meter sniping range, as opposed to like 600 to 1,000.
And frankly, like the assault rifles, there's no case where like the assault rifles can compete with the best. Well, they can at least hit at range as well as a lot of the sniper rifles. There's no damage fall off over range that I'm aware of. Everything does pretty flat damage. You crit on a headshot. There was a chart on the Reddit that somebody did, so I'm pretty sure that there's no range fall off. The difference is optics, really. Like the optics on a sniper rifle are going to allow you to shoot longer. But what it means is that you don't run into those situations where you get sniped from like across the map, and then you have to like hunt for cover, because there is just so much cover in the environment and so many places you can go if someone engages you at range to try to avoid that fight. So that part is really cool. And then sort of the other part of the verticality is like each map segment is so different. In a lot of those games, Fortnite gets away from this a little bit, but they all feel like kind of, and I'm not trying to rag on PUBG either, because it's the first of this genre. So it's not like they fucked this up or something, but PUBG, a lot of the environments, with a couple of exceptions, are very similar in the way that they feel. Like the houses,
a lot of it, the houses are copied.
They're prefab.
Yeah, right. And the cool thing about Apex is like I have been in games where it has ended in the swamp, and it's a very flat conflict without a ton of cover around. So it's a lot of like sliding around and trying to use movement to stay alive. And then I've also been in conflicts like the one that we played last night, Andre, where we were in the Thunderdome and we were in the like hanging thing, and we had this kind of perch, and there was one zip line up, and then we were trying to kind of like figure out what we were going to do because we were right on the edge of the circle, and then another team like came up the zip line and fucked us up.
And they were in the circle, and they came out of the circle to get us. And so disrespectful.
So there's so many different kinds of feels of engagements because of how diverse the map is, and
how quick the movement is on like because you can go up a zip line because you've got like jetpacks and stuff, which is nice. And I was like, oh, well, I can only go down the zip line, but no, there's no fall damage. So like, there's no point to go down a zip line unless you're like going a long distance.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And like jumping, one of the coolest things is
climbing.
Like in the northern part, there's like the artillery base. And then just south of that, there's like a tower. And you can jump off the tower, and there's a zip line that runs like right alongside it. And I just love jumping off the tower and then grabbing onto the zip line in midair, and then like going like 500 meters on the zip line.
Yeah. That stuff is all just really great. And hopefully they just continue to add maps.
I mean, they've got characters planned there's a character planned for next month, or a legend or whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, they put out that roadmap, and I think it's the roadmap is a little bit funny. Really, it just gives you the dates that the different seasons start, because every season is going to involve
3 months.
Every season is 3 months long. It's going to have a new battle pass, a new legend, at least one new legend, new loot, and a new map, apparently.
A new map, really?
Not a new map for all of them, no.
Really? Okay. I was positive that they all had the exact same icons on them.
No, the fourth one had 2 icons, which was new legend and I think new loot.
Okay. Because I remember looking at it going like, that's weird. I don't even know why they put this roadmap out this way, because all of the icons on it are the same. But
I mean, he is
the
really
one
on
that I'm
fire with
looking
the
at,
infographics. So
sorry, new map. They do not say on the roadmap. They just confirm that new maps are going to happen. The image that I'm looking at, all 4 seasons indicate new loot, new weapons, new legends, and a battle pass.
Sure.
yeah,
And the icons are the same across all of them, but they don't indicate a new map.
Right. But yeah, that game's real cool.
Ami, have you seen this or checked it out at all?
Yes, I have seen it. This is not I don't have many cents to put into this because it's not my forte, my fort.
Okay.
Fortnite. It's not my Fortnite. Fortnite is not my Fortnite either. I am traditionally speaking a single player campaign, offline kind of guy. But I do know from what I've watched today mostly that the general consensus is, and this was said at the very beginning of this conversation, that those of us who for whom games like Fortnite are not the reason we play games, that Apex Legends is still worth checking out, and it offers things that set it apart to such an extent that you can't just say, oh well, you don't like this, so you won't like that. Of course, I'm not an FPS guy either, and that might be a bit of a
that might be a barrier.
But that aside,
there's still a rush to the battle royale thing. Like, has anyone? I won a game last night. Has anyone else won a game? I know Pat said he hasn't. Alex, have you?
Not of Apex, no.
Okay.
Of other games, yes.
Like, I had several very close games, and I lost, I think, 2. I got second place in 2 games because of some bullshit. Once because the other team sat outside like the circle and just healed apparently for like 5 minutes.
Right.
Which you should not be able to do. I thought we had figured this out after like the PUBG stuff with like the competitive scene and that guy winning like the tournament by sitting outside and healing. I thought we figured that out. That you shouldn't be able to do that, and like the circle needs to do more damage than is possible to heal like that.
I mean, you don't know what kind of healing gear they had though.
Real stupid.
If they had 4 Phoenix kits apiece or something like that,
but it should not. The circle should do enough damage that is not a feasible strategy. Is all I'm saying.
I guess what I'm saying is I don't think with normal healing gear it is a feasible strategy. I bet they had a pretty wild loadout of healing equipment.
Apparently,
I have a question about that. So there's so many cool things about this, but one of the cool things is the different qualities of gear that you can get. So like you can get a purple quality one and the gold, which is the legendary quality one, which will actually have like different properties to it.
Yeah, like a perk or whatever.
Yeah. Do the healing items have any of those gold legendary perks?
I don't think so. I think the Phoenix kit's the best thing you can get.
Okay.
Because the Phoenix kit heals 100 shields and 100 health, which is the most shields and health you can have.
Right.
So unless it did some other thing,
okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they add that eventually.
Yeah.
The other thing.
Sorry.
Please, Alex, then I'll tell my other stupid story.
Yeah, because I was going to say, like, one of my favorites of those, of the quality of items, is the knockdown shield. Because in itself, that's a really cool mechanic, being able to defend yourself when you've been knocked down. But the highest tier one also lets you res yourself, which is
one time,
and it is kind of a long res too. It's like 7 seconds.
Yeah, but sorry,
it's better than not. So there was that, and that was like the best game I had up to that point. Like my team was good. Like we were executing well. We had this team, but then they were able to just sit outside the circle and heal, which I do not think should be possible no matter what your loadout is at that point in the game. And then the other game, I had a teammate who had like 300 kills on whatever character he was playing. I think it was like Mirage. He had like 300 kills on Mirage. Leaves during the fly-in. So it's me and one other person, and we get to second place. If we had this other person, I 100% believe we would have won the game.
Yeah. I think the 2 things the game needs most is a reconnect feature, because like I have had
this person didn't disconnect, they just left.
No, I know. Well, that's my second point. But the first thing is it needs a reconnect feature, because I've had friends that have crashed a lot.
Yeah.
like every game in some cases they'll crash. And they're about ready to just uninstall it because they crash all the time. If they could reconnect, that would help a lot. And then the other thing is that reconnect feature needs to be in such a way where it's like you can either reconnect to the game that you were in, or you can get a queue ban for 10 minutes or whatever to prevent people from disconnecting like that. Because what happens is people will disconnect if they don't get the character they want. And they'll also disconnect if you drop and go towards a space they don't want to go to. That I have seen that happen before, and that needs to be like removed as a possibility for sure.
Yeah. Especially if they're not going to communicate, like not even ping like, hey, I want to go over here or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
It's,
the other thing that I want them to do, so they have some really cool accessibility features in terms of you can turn on text to speech so that if someone types something, it will text to speech it. You can also turn on speech to text,
which is hilarious.
So if someone says something, it'll text it. And frankly, I want to turn both of those things on and then completely turn off voice chat so that I don't ever have to talk to other people, because I've already had
anyone speak.
Yeah, I get people talking in almost every game I'm in, and 9 times out of 10, they're people I don't want to talk to at all. Like I had one guy in a game last night who chastised us for not veering off when we landed. Which became a joke, and it was very funny. So like you can veer off when the person jumps, whoever is the jump master, the person who's picking the jump point. As the two people that are not jump master, you can go off on your own at a certain point whenever you want, really. And so typically what you should do is if you're in an area with 3 houses, each person should veer off so that you're each getting 1 house. Sure. Yes, I get it. That's the strategy. This person dropped us and then chastised my friend and I for not veering off at the end when we were landing on like a bunker in the artillery base, and there wasn't really
not playing right, Pat.
Yeah, and then he we got into a firefight. He ran off on his own. We got into a firefight. I killed an enemy squad, and he yelled, "What are you doing? What's wrong with you?" And then he died, and then I came and killed the 2 people that were attacking him before I died. And it was like, I don't want to hear this guy talk. And unfortunately, there's no way to fully turn off voice chat. You can turn the volume down to 0, but it still is loud enough you can hear it.
You can mute people.
Yeah, you can mute people individually, but I don't want to have to do that every match. I would prefer to just be able to turn
mute everybody.
You can, but you have to do it every game. Yeah. Like you can go in
that
your squad. Yeah, they need to do it so that you can just, I think like they really need to make it so that when you turn voice chat to 0, it's actually 0 and that you just can't hear them. I'm fine with their speech getting turned to text, but like, I just don't want to listen to people.
I saw someone trying to use that, and it did not seem good.
It's not great. It's not great, but
it's sense of anything they were trying to say.
Generally, I've found that I can figure out what they're trying to say when they
marble mouthed motherfucker. Well, does anyone have anything else they'd like to talk about?
I don't think so.
I don't know. For games, we're almost at 2 hours here.
I did see the Lego Movie 2 today. It's pretty good. Yeah, it came out yesterday.
Oh, I didn't even know. Cool.
It's not out in the US.
Oh, okay.
It came out yesterday here. Or maybe Wednesday.
That sounds great. No, I
okay. Well, Ami, would you like to share anything else?
I don't know. I'll just briefly.
No, it is out here.
What?
The Lego Movie 2 is out.
Oh, it's out.
Oh, is it really?
So go see.
Dang.
It.
Gotta go see that.
Go dip.
I don't know. I guess since I'm here and I'm a special guest, I've never been a special guest on anything.
The most special.
Very special.
I'll just say what my short-term trajectory on my channel is, because I'm taking a slightly strange path going forward that I wasn't fully expecting to go on. I'm trying to make a strong push for original content, because obviously competing in the gaming sector on YouTube is insane. Although all power to you all. Anyway, so I've been working on this very strange project of making spoken word poetry out of the and you can laugh, it is ridiculous, out of the games that I've been playing. And so one series is basically spoken word poems of specific games, and I'm starting with Hitman from
Are you using
2016.
dialogue in the game and like cutting it together into spoken?
That would be cool, but no. I'm writing these.
Okay. But what if you found those words in the game and then
they would not have the cadence and delivery,
but if you could auto tune it, I don't know.
That's true.
I'm not good at
my God, that would take so much time. Yeah, so there's sort of like spoken word poem reviews, and then the other one is I'm rewriting the entire Pokedex from beginning to end in sort of spoken word format. So I'm going through every beginning with the beginning. Let's see how far it goes. But I'm looking through all of the Pokedex entries for each Pokemon, and then sort of taking the information that's there and rewriting it, but in a very, very elaborate way. Anyway,
are you gonna wear like a beret and like a black turtleneck for these videos?
Something like that. Yeah, I am gonna make it look like I'm on stage at some sort of like club
bongos. Or workshop. We shouldn't workshop this live.
I'm not sure whether this is like spoken word poetry that is video game themed, or whether like the foundation is video games but it's spoken word on top of that, because it's going to be like the least searchable thing ever. But that's okay.
Get on that SEO and go to like poetry slams and just start doing it.
I know, I'm thinking about it. This is for
that'd be actually really amazing.
25% of you out there. The rest of you can just
Well, the one I just took a quick look at your channel, and the one video that is literally the first thing I'm going to look at once we're done with the podcast is you did a dramatic reading of Simple and Clean, which I am very on board for. So I think I am very much on board for your content.
Yes, that was the beginning of this new direction. I'm going to do other songs from video games too. They're just, there aren't an infinite.
And also, how many of them are really to the level of
3? What's the song from the beginning of Far Cry 3? What's her name? The MIA song? All I want to do is
Paper Planes.
Oh, Paper Planes. Yeah. Oh, so that's obviously not like written for. Yeah, but anything I guess that exists in the game is fair game.
Power by Kanye West from Saints Row 3, the third rather.
The big one on my list is Still Alive from Portal.
Okay.
It is hilarious. But anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that is a teaser of what is coming up on Penny Voxel. You can find him on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube. You can find my Kingdom Hearts Let's Play, which will be going up over like the next month. 40 episodes. We've got like 8 up or something like that. Some of those I'll probably upload 2 at a time, because they like the penultimate episode will probably be like a twofer, because that was dumb. And you can find us on Google Play and iTunes, where you can give us a review.
Stitcher,
iStitcher, Spotify. We're all fine podcast locations. RSS, fix.space, our website. You can find me online at Coolslaw, COOLSL4W on Twitter. Alex, where can people find you?
Pornhub.
Okay. Are you still uploading? Yeah. Are you still uploading the podcast to the?
Yeah, you can find us on Pornhub.
Oh my God!
Coolslaw, COOLSL4W.
Oh, good.
I want to see the comments on those videos. Oh, it's all 2 hours.
What is that?
Pat.
You can find me at Chester PC.
Allison.
You can find me on Twitter at WRITERSERENYTY. And yes, I did not forget how to spell my own username there. And also on Twitch at Happy Beeps here.
Okay, good.
Can I interrupt for just 1 second? I just checked out our page. One of our videos has about 300 something views and 1 downvote. No upvotes, just one thumbs down.
Wait, on Pornhub?
Yeah, on Pornhub.
What?
How do we have 300 views?
Why do we have more
I'm not
views
going to question
than we
it.
do on YouTube?
I think you answered your question with your question, Andre. Think of the number of users on each of these platforms.
But
And think of which users on which platforms are more likely to try to find very strange hidden things buried deep within the website.
maybe.
Yeah, screw the migration to Vimeo.
What the hell happened?
It's just Sting watching it over and over as part of it.
Okay, well,
It's like gotta find videos that are 2 hours long.
wait, this is very confusing. Sam, which episode is that, Alex?
Gelato Artists, episode 29.
There you go. There it is, right there. It has gelato in the title. Done.
It's a good
Sam,
episode, though, so if that's
Where can people find you?
You should follow my YouTube channel, which you can find.
Counter programming your own podcast. Jesus Christ.
He did offer to put his videos up on our channel too.
I do a lot of sports shoe reviews, by which I mean 1 of 4 videos I put up is a sports shoe review.
I love that.
And I'm going to put up the second part of that review tomorrow. I haven't edited it yet, so we'll see. It might take forever because it's a really complicated
overlay
video.
on that and then put those up on our channel. I'm cool with it.
Just like me doing box jumps.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to watch me be really bad at working out, tomorrow is the day that I put a video of me working out on the internet for the first time. You can find me on YouTube by just going to I don't have a cool URL yet. I need 100 followers. So you can just search for Sam Harrison. I think I'm pretty high on the results for it's this. So it's YouTube/user/SpiderFan2099 because I started that channel in 2006.
You would name your channel Spider Fan again today.
I mean, I stand by the statement.
Yeah, come on.
Was one last thought is search. What happened to searching things? Like if you search things in Windows 10, it's crapshoot if you're gonna actually find what you're looking for. If you're like, oh, I want to find this application, you're like, oh, you want to
you gotta
There's-
you gotta index your drives.
What you gotta do is
it's not
download
even
the
that. It's just Windows search is terrible.
It's like that on my Mac too.
Download this program called Everything. It's really good. It's an indexer.
Okay. And then, but also on YouTube, I was searching for Sam's channel for some reason. I wanted to see something he posted. And I searched Sam Harrison. I am subscribed to Sam. I don't know why I searched him instead of because it wasn't showing up in my list of things. He was not even close to what showed up in my searches. So what is going on with search? Why doesn't it show me the things I want to see? We got all these algorithms, and it's like, oh, we think you want to see this, but it's not even close. Get it together, technology. That's my message to you. Ami, where can people find you?
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, of course. And what's the other one? There's another one. Twitter. Did I say Twitter?
Snapchat?
Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Reddit,
Pornhub?
and YouTube. At
Yeah,
Penny
Pornhub,
Voxel.
apparently that's where the audience is.
I know.
Apparently.
Hopefully Penny Voxel's not taken on there. I've gotten very lucky with everything else.
Pornhub stealing my stealing my name has more views on Pornhub than I do on YouTube. What?
My username was taken for TikTok, so I deleted my account and deleted the app, and I will never. I had the same username on everything. It's just my initials, SGCH, easy. But when it wasn't available, I looked who it was, and it's like a 12-year-old girl who lives in Asia somewhere, and all of her videos are just Musical.ly videos because TikTok used to be Musical.ly. Mm-hmm. And her account hasn't been used for like 7 years.
Well, that's that. Okay, we're gonna wrap this up. Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe.
Good night. Subscribe, like, and subscribe.
I like how we're all waving, but we don't actually have a video.
Yeah. I mean, I think I do that.
I'm waving to you.
Episode, so.
I'm waving to just Pat. So
I am virtually waving to everybody who's listening. So. Hi.
Thanks for joining us, Ami.
Yes,
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Ami. Good having you.
Human centipede waving. I'm waving at Alex.
The human centipede of waving? What?
What?
Bye.
Bye.
We're ending this podcast?
Bye.
Okay. Bye.